The entire team at Emsolation want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We want to recognise that we are recording and telling our stories on the stolen land of our country's first storytellers. We wish to pay our respects to all Wurundjeri elders and ancestors, and to extend that respect to any First Nations peoples who listen to Emsolation. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' continued connection to the land and waters of this country, and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. Always was, always will be.
This is Free Time Tuesday on Emsolation with M. Russiano.
Well, hello there. Welcome to a very special episode of Emsolation. This is just for the Succession fans. This is a Succession compression session. Obviously, Ep 3 of Season 4 has dropped. So much to talk about. This will be spoiler-laden. So if you are not up to date, please exit the podcast and come back again tomorrow when our regular episode comes out. Please enjoy the Emsolation Succession compression session. Hello, Emsolators. It's a bonus edition with the Emsolation Succession Compression Session. Thank you, Michael Lucas.
It is our obsession.
Well, this is full of spoilers. I want to say straight off the bat, this is full of spoilers. You must be up to date on the current season of Succession. If you are not, please abandon ship now. I will give you some music to abandon ship. Here you go. Okay, now they're gone.
Okay.
Losers.
I was spoiled for this. You were not.
We refer, obviously, to the death of the number one on the call sheet.
Logan Roy, patriarch.
They think he's gone. Yeah,
What?
They think he's gone.
What happened? What do you mean?
Well, they think Dad died.
What?
Yeah,
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I can't have that.
Now, I didn't know.
No.
I found out when the Roy siblings found out.
Yeah.
I cannot believe you knew going in.
I know. I was just scrolling through Twitter and I saw that it was trending like number one, and then I just saw the start of a tweet that said, now that Logan Roy has carked it. And I was like, ah!
See, I got a new phone and I don't know my Twitter password. So
Good.
I haven't
Smart.
been on Twitter in a
Smart.
month.
Smart. I mean, you got my text, which would have indicated that it was an episode worth watching.
But it always is. See, with
Yes.
Succession,
Yes.
I didn't even think about your text when you sent it to me. I was like, yeah. And it's funny, I just started because I was 3 behind. I hadn't even
Yeah,
started.
I know.
I watched all 3 last night. Bang, bang, bang. And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching it now. And I nearly went to bed after episode 2 because I was so tired. I couldn't keep my eyes open. But then I'm like, no, because we're going to talk about it tomorrow. You're like, we have. So I sat down and I watched it. And the way that it was so, because normally there's big classic TV deaths, you know, we get the big, you know, think about when Daphne died on Neighbours. Think about when Molly died on A Country Practice. It was stunning, grainy footage as she lay on the couch and Brendan
Flashbacks.
looked up. Yes. But this was just Tom phoning it in to all of us.
Yes.
So I found out as Shiv, Logan and Romulus found out.
Roman.
Romulus is his name though.
Oh, yeah, but Kendall, you said.
Kendall, what did I say?
Logan was the one that was
Logan
dying.
died.
Yeah.
Kendall, Shiv, and Roman found out. And it was the same shock. It was like, and what I love is how we were never on solid ground with the information. So we're in the air or we're on a boat, and I couldn't latch into the information like them.
No, and it was not clear. Has he actually died or not?
And the
that
phone breaking up.
Oh my God.
And you're like, but has he? And you're just wanting to settle. You're wanting to nest on the information. Has Logan died? And the brilliant use of having the cast not on solid ground while we're all trying to figure out these things. Like the things, the Easter eggs and the way that the biggest thing about this episode is that it brings us full circle because the whole fucking show is called Succession. The whole thing is about what happens when this character dies, but then we kind of forgot that.
I know. Well, I guess I'd fallen into a place of assuming that it would be the finale of this season, it being the last season.
Thank
I
God it
thought
wasn't.
they get to episode 10 and it would die. But then, of course, now that we're here, I'm like, of course it could never have been because we
want to know.
We want to know how they've got to fight it out now.
And how good. That's all. I'm obsessed with it.
Obsessed.
We got to do the funeral.
Oh.
That was one of the greatest lines of all time. We'll just get Reagan's off the rack with a few tweaks.
Yeah. Incredible.
The whole scenario. But I realized, yeah, of course, I need to know, okay, now we're in play. The whole premise of the show is in play. Thank God they killed him in Ep 3.
Oh. And they stacked the deck. Already Shiv and Tom were in their hellscape place in their marriage.
Yeah.
But weirdly, you can see that they're still, despite it all, she's such a broken person. He's still perhaps the only person she can turn to.
Yes.
Which is devastating.
Yes.
And then Roman absolutely decimated Jerry seconds before it happens. But does that still count? We don't even know. Is she fired? Is she not? Is she going to be the head of it all?
I don't know.
My money is on her.
You think?
I feel like something settled in her in that moment and then he died and she thought, I'm going to fucking take this. I'm going to take it. I want it to be her. She's earned it.
I want you to hear the moment Jesse Armstrong, he's the writer, creator.
Yes.
He is going to talk about telling Brian Cox, who plays Logan Roy, that his character was dying. Have a listen.
As soon as it was really set, I spoke to Mark and other key collaborators to double check it was the right idea. And I didn't want to fuck it up and tell Brian and then have to retract. So I made really, really sure that it was the definite right shape of the season and it was the last one and everything. And then, I took a sort of soulful march up from the writer's room in Victoria to Soho to have lunch with Brian and tell him. And I was very sad and sort of a bit humanly nervous about telling him. I thought I was a cool cucumber, but I was like, why do I feel like I want to go to the toilet and cry?
So you can imagine. It would have been fairly nerve-wracking. Telling
it's horrible.
a man of that. And I've listened to a few podcasts with Brian. Brian is Logan Roy. They're the same person. Honestly, Brian swears more than Logan, if that's possible.
I think he's a lot warmer than Logan. I'm in Flex. I met him.
Okay, continue.
I can't believe I'm saying this.
Okay.
It's the weirdest anecdote.
Go.
Other than when we hung out with the Glee cast, which is also weird. Yeah, Sarah introduced me to him.
Sidebar. We have never spoken about that on the podcast. Mental note, we need to talk about our night with the entire Glee cast, including Leah Michelle. Side note, half of whom are now no longer with us.
I know. I think it's just so surreal. I forget it happened.
Was such a weird
Or
night.
it felt like a dream.
But we can't talk about it now.
Second only to that was, yes, after season 2, I was in New York. I was hanging out with Sarah, who I've known for...
Oh, flex!
Well, yes.
I've acted in a movie with Sarah Snook,
You have,
so whatever.
totally.
Yeah.
And they were doing an event as a cast, and she took me backstage, and all the cast were there hanging out except for Matthew McFadden, and then introduced me to Brian Cox, who was completely lovely. Except I could see she just sort of said, "This is Michael," and blah blah blah, and I could absolutely see he was trying to figure out. This was before she was with her now husband. He was trying to figure out, is this a what is the situation?
Brian
I could
was.
see it. I could see that's what he was
love
doing.
that.
But it was a real warmth. I
Yeah.
could see that he absolutely loved her.
No, but he's Scottish. He's harsh. Here's a little bit of him in a recent interview talking about how he felt about the death of the character.
Jesse called me in. He said, I'm afraid I'm going to have to tell you that Logan is going to die. And I went, okay, he's going to die. I didn't quite expect it to happen as early as it did. I was fine about it, as long as I was getting paid. You kill me off in episode 3, does that mean you stop paying me? No. Well, I'm a natural-born Scot, so we think about things like that.
Brian Cox has never watched an episode of Succession. At the premiere of this season, this year, he went outside when they aired it and smoked and had, as a quote, 8 tequila shots.
Wow. That's what you want from him.
So good. So it's called Connor's Wedding. Makes me think about the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones, like the same kind of carnage, just in a different way. So you get this idea.
Yes, another HBO classic.
Yeah, don't they love it? And that was so bizarre, that storyline of Connor and
Willa.
finally having a happy ending.
Well, it's close as they're ever going to get to it, absolutely.
And that final shot.
I loved it. They kiss and he does the dip on the boat and there's no people there left anymore and it's the weirdest circumstance to get married in the world, but it was kind of perfect. And that she admitted finance is a part of why I'm here, but I am happy.
No, it's true. But I can't think of an episode of and I watched it by myself and I'm just wandering around the house just going, and you had your phone on fucking silent because you don't care if one of us dies in the middle of the night and you need to get an urgent phone call. Someone did die and I did need to urgently talk to you.
Okay, sorry.
And your phone was on silent and you should have seen me like I was reading. I listened to that podcast last night. Like at
You needed it.
1 a.m.
Needed to decompress.
Yes.
All of the actors that played the kids all gave you a different version of how you could behave in shock after something like that. And they were all so good, so well written, so well acted.
It was perfect.
And they shot it continuously as well.
Talk about that. Talk about the continuous shooting. By the way, the podcast I'm referring to is HBO's Succession podcast. It's brilliant.
With
Go and
Tara
have-
Swisher. Really, yeah.
She's amazing. By the way,
Fantastic.
ask every fucking question you
I
want.
know. She's brilliant.
Yes.
I
Doesn't
know.
make it about
Suffers
her.
no fools. Still good-humoured.
She's
Brilliant.
great. And the only person I've heard handle Logan Roy, Brian Cox.
Was her.
Yeah.
She takes on Elon Musk. She's amazing.
I know, you can hear it. So, yeah, the continuous shoot, amazing.
Yeah, so basically the sequence where they're all finding out that he has lost consciousness on the plane and they're trying to revive him plays out in real time. And so they decided to shoot it kind of in real time. So they had Matthew McFadden really on the phone and they didn't want to cut. And so they were racing around with cameras and they just staged it, I guess like a stage play, but on a boat. And I mean,
and we're hiding backup batteries or film or
that's
something
right.
around
That's
the
right.
set. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do it on Newsreader in the newsroom. We run all the scenes together so they can race around, but we're doing it on digital. They're doing it on film, and film is like this old, amazing technology, but old technology that runs out. So they needed to hide film canisters and do all the changes, but it was worth it because all of their reactions were so visceral and in the moment.
And the cameras felt invasive. You really felt that. And the fact that the actors, they got 2 hours notice, by the way, and then they just were in like a play. And my other favourite little factoid was that whenever any of them are on the phone in any scene, the actor they're talking to, no matter where they are in the world, gets on the fucking phone.
I know.
That is like, I respect that so much. So when they were on the phone to Tom and Tom's going, I'm going to put you on, you're going to talk to him. That actor was actually in England. It was the middle of the night when they were shooting that in New York. And he just made himself available. And anytime you see and they're always on the phone, that show is mostly done because the dialogue is so extraordinary. A lot of it's done on the phone. And that means that the actor they're talking to, I mean, you don't hear of that very often.
No, it's a mark. It's a mark for sure. Like, I mean, Anna and Sam and Newsreader will always be on the phone to each other at the same time.
That's great.
It is a mark of wanting to
respect.
get, even if it only gives you like a 2% difference, it's worth it. It's worth it if it's going to be that amazing. Oh, so who's going to be the successor? Who do you think?
Tom.
Okay.
Or Greg. Greg is the Stephen Bradbury of Succession.
I want Jerry, but I feel like Greg would be a satisfying. It's not going to be one of the kids, I don't think.
Absolutely not.
I think one of the kids is going to be practically suicidal. They all are already.
I think we're going to lose one of the kids as well. I genuinely think we're going to lose.
Could be any one of them, really.
I think it'll be Kendall. I feel like we're going to lose one of the kids. I really do. And I think it's just, I'm so excited for the funeral because you know something's going to go down at the funeral. Because old mate, the wife's got to come back from Milan. You've got the personal assistant losing her mind, wanting to be on the television as a newsreader / lover.
They've already said that the election's coming up as well.
The election's coming up.
They've got a fascist running for that. Oh.
It's going to be, and by the way, the poster has a picture of a plane on it, very faintly top right.
I know, that's incredible. Do you know Sarah was on, I think, the Stephen Colbert show, and he put up the poster and he says, should we read in anything to what's on this poster? And she said, actually you should. Yeah. But everyone was thinking it was about the positioning of the kids. No one thought to look in the reflection of the
plane.
Building.
Brilliant. So, I mean, we hope this scratched all your itches about this episode. God, I'm just trying to think. The moment where Roman says to Jerry, I'm genuinely sad, and is obviously looking for a hug.
Yeah.
And she
I know,
just
gives him nothing.
out.
I know.
Oh, there were so many good bits. Fuck. Oh my God. And when they were, what else? There was just so many. And the fact that I guess I should have twigged because Logan finally kind of relented and apologized.
He did, yes. In retrospect, they had such a big scene in the karaoke bar between the kids and Logan, and which is uncharacteristic.
He showed
of the show.
up.
Yes.
He came to them rather than making
But
them.
he was still brutal. I love you, but you are not serious people.
That was brutal. I'm going to start using that.
And also, like, you know, in retrospect, that was the last things that they said to him that they ever heard, that he would ever hear.
But like was pointed out, in season 1, he said to Kendall, "You'll never be CEO because you came to my 80th." And he blew off that wedding, his son's wedding, to go and close a huge deal. Like, full circle. Fucking great writing. Do you think they've ended the show because they know they can't continue on with an all-white cast and an all-white writers' room?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's a show about white privilege. So I don't think that's the reason. No, I think it's just genuinely that
I respect it.
They've been building towards this moment. They know they've hit the moment. It was the right time for him to die. They want to play out what happens after his die, but then they're going to play that out, and then we end. We're out. It can't get any more intense than this.
Do you remember the grip the Chokehold 24 had on us when Keith Sutherland?
Not me, but yeah.
Really?
No, I wasn't ever a 24 person.
Oh, this is how I feel. I feel like...
I know. I'm so happy that we've got 7 more weeks.
All right. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
Succession compression session. All right.
Emsolation with M. Rusciano is a Spotify exclusive podcast recorded at Down the Hill Studios, hosted by M. Rusciano with Michael Lucas and sometimes her eldest daughter, Marcella. Executive produced by Benjamin Wasley. Produced by M. Rusciano. Edited by Ezekiel Fenn. With videos by James Henderson. Socials by Marcella Rusciano Barrow. With assistance from Jem Evans, plus cameos from M's dad, Vincey. Get the full Emsolation experience by following us on Instagram at Emsolation Podcast. You can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. Join other Emsolators at the Emsolation group on Facebook. The answer is Harry Styles. If you really want to help us out, you could become a patron of Emsolation. Share this podcast with a friend. Give us a 5-star rating and make sure you're following us on the Spotify app by actually hitting the follow button. As always, thanks for listening, and we're excited to chat with you again soon.